We are finishing the first parak, but I just want to be moisef a few things, a few important things, to be more on Daf Yudala Amud Aleph. The Gemara has, in the beginning of the Omid, Gemara has my Havi We have the halacha is that when a person has a Taanis, so the Shliach Tzibur says the special bracha between Goel, he said Ben Goel Larofa, he makes a special bracha for the Taanis, Yom Tzom, and Tzibur, the Mispalim, said in Shemet Tefillah. And the Gemara says, V'chein Amar Rav Chia bar Ashi Amar Rabbi Amarav Ben Goel Larofa. Rav Ashi Amar Mishmei Rabbi Yanai Berei Rabbi Shmuel b'Shemet Tefillah b'Hilchasa b'Shemet Tefillah. So the halacha is as follows: when the Shliach Tzibur on a Yom Taanis davens the Tefillah, davens the Tzibur Dikat Tefillah, so he makes a special bracha and he puts between Goel and Rofi. When the Yochid davens, or even the Yechidim in the Tzibur daven, they say in Shemet Tefillah. Now there's an interesting question over here. When a Yochid has a Taanis by himself, there are times, except the Taanis deals with it also. A Yochid davens because he has tzoros. He has a bad dream, sometimes he fasts, or other type of situations when the Yochid feels he has to fast. And in that situation, he also says, Aneinu Hashem, Aneinu b'yom tzom Taanis. Okay, so does he say the Yochid when he davens for himself, not b'toras, a part of the tzibur? Does he say b'yom tzom Taanis? He's only one fasting. He had a bad dream, and the Gemara says, Chas Hashem, somebody has a bad dream, he has to fast. And if he fasts, we know the procedure. He's makam on himself a Taanis. And when he's makam on Taanis, we spoke about the other time, it's a Yom Taanis, and he's fasting. And now he's in Shmon Esrei, and he has to say, Aneinu, Hashem Aneinu. There's no such thing of davening without saying something. So he says, Aneinu, Hashem Aneinu. Does he say that? Aneinu, Hashem Aneinu. Okay, that's okay. Aneinu, Hashem Aneinu, because he's part of the tzibur. The Rashba asked the question. Somebody asked the Rashba the question, but then when he says, Aneinu, Hashem Aneinu, we're mitzvah. We're part of the tzibur, even people we don't know are fasting, but everyone needs a Yeshua. Aneinu Hashem Aneinu. That's a tefillah about kosher for everyone. B'yom tzom Taanis. I'm the only one fasting. I don't know anybody else fasting. So the Magen Avraham says, there might be somebody else also who had a bad dream that night. Who knows, maybe he's fasting. So it's a Gavalta Kechidish that we can be mitzvah people, whether we don't know, we have no idea, but maybe B'yom tzom Taanis. The Ramos says we don't change the nusach hatfilah. Chazal we're masakin Aneinu Hashem Aneinu. That's the what's his name? That's the nusach, and we should continue with the nusach. The Taz has a takeh sofik here. The Taz says Aneinu Hashem Aneinu. Okay, I understand. But B'yom tzom Taanis, it should be B'yom tzom Tanasi, not my tzom. He takeh has a sofik. What should be the proper nusach in that situation? But the Meforshim say, in the Aneinu Hashem Aneinu, when he says Aneinu Hashem b'yom tzom Taanis, Rebbeinu Shalom answer us b'yom on the day tzom Taanis. It does not say b'yom Taanis hazeh in this Taanis. This Taanis should be right. He has no right to say b'yom tzom. He's referring to in general. Whenever Klal Yisrael has a Yom Tzom, and people have a Yom Tzom, we ask the Rebbeinu Shalom in a general way, Rebbeinu Shalom, we're fasting, we did Averis, we're doing Tshuva, whatever it is. Aneinu Hashem Aneinu b'yom tzom Taanis. So it's not referring that specifically to this Taanis. It's referring to general. Whenever Klal Yisrael or Yechidim have a Yom Taanis, and they're saying in their tefillas, Aneinu Hashem Aneinu, answer us and give us a kapora through our Taanis. So we say, Aneinu Hashem b'yom tzom Taanis. Whatever you will have, a Yom Tzom Taanis, you should answer us. So the Yom Tzom is not referring specifically to this Taanis. It's referring in general. And that's And I think the halacha is that we keep the signals, so we don't change it, even though Tassos we can't say a davar shekel, we're not allowed to say a davar shekel. But the answer is beyond some Taanis, even though we're the only one fasting, but it's a tefillah in general for people, not specifically now. It's a tefillah that Rebbeinu Shem should answer anybody who has a Yom Tzom. Okay. Now I just want to go to the bottom of the Yom, and there's a very important, interesting thing over here. This is it's hard for me even to come to a successful conclusion on this. The Gemara says as follows, on the bottom of Yud Dal and Amud Aleph. The Gemara discusses, is it with shofar, the Gemara discusses, or is it with tefillah? And the Gemara says as follows, the Tanya, Elu Masriim B'Shabbos. Elu Masriim B'Shabbos, 4 lines from the bottom. These are the things what Masriim B'Shabbos. The Gemara wants to know what the Lashon Masriim is. Al Ir Shekifu Gayas, if an ear is surrounded by enemy, O Nohor, or we have a river overflowing, Vasfina Matrefes Bayam. There's situations where Tzoakim B'Shabbos. Rabbi Yossi Omer LaAzora, you're allowed to make it for Azora, to ask for help. Help, we need extra pair of hands. Avalo L'Tzokim, but not for tefillah. Zot Rashi, LaAzora, Tzoakim L'Bnei Adam Shevol Ezem, you're allowed to cry out on Shabbos. Please help us, we need extra pair of hands, there's a fire going on. There's the water might overflow, the river might overflow. We need to put extra sacks to buttress the wall. That you're allowed to do on Shabbos. Below L'Tzaka, but not for Tzaka. Zot Rashi, Tefillah she'inonu betuchim kol kach shetoya. We're not so assured that this tefillah will work. Shetor tefillah seinu litzok aleim b'Shabbos. Alme tzo'okas pe kori hasroy. So we see that the Lashon Hasroy goes on Sokim B'Peh, even Sokim B'Peh. That's the halacha. So I saw an interesting halacha, and I'm just going to read it out to you. This is a very interesting problem over here, and there's conflicting opinions over here. If I can find it. Oh. So they ask on Rashi, and this is a very basic question. What does Rashi say? Einonu b'tuchim. We don't make a special tza'aka on Shabbos because we're not assured of the outcome. So the Maramshik asks a good question. So we're not assured. But maybe the tefillah would work. Tefillah's probably works. So it's a safek pikuach nefesh. A safek pikuach nefesh is Dreicha Shabbos. What are we dealing with? We're not dealing with any malacha. We're basically dealing with a person davening on Shabbos. So let's watch his name. What's the big problem? Maram Shik asks, the Mabakach, are we safek pikuach nefesh Dreicha Shabbos b'yisad yiraisa? Vech nesa tzaka kan misafek. Why should it be also misafek? So this question is asked by the Ramshik, and the Maria Assad brings a teretz, a very interesting teretz, which is the Nachal Shiva, and I'm quoting what he says, whatever I have over here. The lohiter ela hatzola tivis. Hatzola, pikuach nefesh, is only allowed a natural hatzola, in natural ways. Chagomet koah shekapitzom lazar, there's a fire, blow, sirens, come help. God forbid, people could be trapped by fire. Masha'enkin hatzola yedei nes. You want there should be hatzola through a miracle. Kagon ko'ela Taanis tefillah shetoasam emativis. All the tefillahs that we're saying that their toelas is not natural. Ki im derech nes. It's a derech nes that we're mevato gzardin, that we're being mispalel, that the Baruch should be mevato the gzardin. Kiven sheinu bor ein oisim. We don't do it. The tzir for zeh mashakosav and perish and mishnayis the Rambam Yumayim. Okay, well, I'll take a chidush. Now, this is something we have to think about. I heard once there was a big tzaddik in Europe called Mordechai Asman, and everyone felt that his tefillahs, if he davened for you, his tefillahs would be niskabel. Like many people feel the same way about Reb Chaim Kanievsky nowadays. Reb Chaim Kanievsky would know the situation and give you a personal bracha. So there was that's what I heard. Don't quote me in any way, but this is I heard that somebody approached Reb Chaim Brisker asking him a shaila. He has a chayla in his house, and it's bikuach nefesh involved on Shabbos. Can he send a telegram to a Mordechai Asmanat and give him the name of the chayla to daven? Can he send? And Kim Domani, Reb Chaim said, yes, it's a psafik bikuach nefesh, one is allowed to send. So this is a major shaila. In the Gemara in Kiddushin, interesting halacha over here. The Gemara Kiddushin has a whole story over here. We have to figure out what's going on over here. The Gemara says, Abaye Shoma the Kohavi, it's the Gemara in Kiddushin Chof Tes on the base. Shoma Abaye the Kohavi Osa Hahavi Hari Mazik Beirabon. There was a mazik, in those days a mazik was a shed. And mazik Beirabon, and he was causing problems to Beirabon, to the Bnei Yeshiva. The Chihavi Ayo, Basan Afilu B'Yamama having Mitzik, even when they came up during the day, there was problems. Don't give anyone open up houses. That's not, because I want, when a tzaddik will come into the city, I want to send him to that place, and maybe he'll die. Efshet Misracha Shnisha. Bahi Bei Rabon, Idmelei Ketanina, so the Amora came to that place, and then no one gave him a place to stay. He had to stay in that shul. So Idmelei Ketnina, the Shiva Rishusah. And the Mazik appeared to that Amora like a snake with 7 heads. Called Korea the chorus, he davened. He sees a snake with 7 heads. So every time he bent down and was in the spalo, called Korea the chorus, Nosachad Rishis, so one of the heads fell off. Armalo Lamocher, Eloas Rachish Nisis, Akintan, not for the fact that a miracle happened because of my tefillas. So you put me in a Mokum Sakon. That's the Gemara. So the question is, how do they do that? How do they put him in a Mokum Sakona? After all, we're dealing with a situation that there was a mazik there, and he was looking to be mazik Bei Rabbanan, to be mazik Talmidei Chachamim. And now you're sending this Amor, or maybe it was Abai even, and you're putting him in that Sakon. Zok the Mashos, and the Mashos says over here, the Vare Samach Abaya Chasidusa. Abaye was samach on the Chasidus, on the greatness of this Amora. Shemitoch tefilasa, because of his tefillah, lo yiyad nizik, he won't be in any way harmed. V'yarag is a masik, and be able to kill the masik. Ve'ein zeh mikre nes. That's not called it. That's what Abaye felt. So you see over here that there's a svara. Akoponim says that somebody who's a big tzaddik in Davins. So the says is a halacha over here is that that's not called a nes. That's not some chinin on nes. That's called natural way. As these of the mashal. But so here, on the other hand, we have over here that to make a tzorka, to make a special tefillah, Rashi says that's a brisa to make a. Rashi says to make a tzorka, to make a tefillah on Shabbos for a situation of what's his name we don't make. Why? Because ain't on the betuchim, our tefillahs are not enough, and that was what he says over here. Lohiter el atzola tivis, up through tefillah, to tkiyas hashefer through tefillah. That's an idea. They could go reila taniyas through tefillahs and whatever shetoosam ain't a tivis. Keep derech neis levatuk zardin. Keeping it's not boring, we don't make it on Shabbos. So here, we have a contradiction between that halacha and this halacha. It's a difficult thing to project over here, but Al Kaponim, that's what we have over here. The only thing, Reb Hillel showed me this Gemara in Kedushin. I said to Reb Hillel, maybe a mazik is different. Mazikim, Shadim. So Shadim, the answer to Shadim is Tefillah, and this has to be a dafka only a big Talmid Chacham. So maybe sending a Mivrak or sending a what's name to Chaim Kanievsky, who's the Goro Ador, maybe in a Chanami, that's called a Dover Batuch. But to gather people around, to somebody to say Tehillim on Shabbos for a situation, maybe in a Chanami not. I saw over here in the Kiveger, in Simon Veish Chof Tes, Kiveger brings, excuse me, Reish Lamed, Ham al yispalo odem levakesh dover she'eno. A person should not be mispalo for something that's really not probable. Levakesh dover she'eno, kifiatev. That's not, naturally it's not what's, why? V'yaf, shayechelis v'yala kodesh baruch hu. Even in Kapei HaKodesh Baruch Hu, there's no difference at all. Could go tefillah, could go hipila ishto leches. In those days, if a woman gave birth to the 8th month, the Gemara calls that a nefel. And the child, he's not even supposed to nurse the child in a natural way. You have to bend over. The Gemara says a woman who was born, a child who was born in the 8th month is a sakana for the vlad. Most times they die. And we know nowadays that it's a premature child has problems with the lungs. So in those days, the 8th-month child had great problems. If he was born in the 7th or the 9th month, okay, that's already a little bit better. But the 8th month, the Gemara held him like a din nefel. And so, are you allowed to daven? Is one allowed to daven that a Kodesh Baruch Hu should send a refuah to this 8-month-old child? Okay, they were speaking about in those days. So Kiveger brings a Sefer Chasidim. Sheyichya. The also l'spalo sheyaslo HaKodesh Baruch Hu neis. It's also to be l'spalo that HaKodesh Baruch Hu should make a miracle b'shinui olam, in changing nature. Kigon sheyotzi elan zeh peres kodim zmano, that the fruit of the tree should come out earlier. Here there might be a hurricane coming, there might be a what's-his-name coming, so you can spot me, please finish him. Let the peiros ripen a little bit earlier so I can take in the tevuah, I can take it before the disaster comes. Then you're not allowed to be mispalo. As they went to Kiveger. So, okay, we have another halach. One halach is to be mispalo on something which is a shinoi hateva, we're not allowed. We're not allowed to be mispalo on something which is a shinoi hateva. Okay. Now, that's one halacha with Kiveger brings. Now we have halacha, according to what we brought in the Gemara, that even something which is a natural disaster on Shabbos, which we can change, we can protect ourselves, it's a natural disaster, but on Shabbos we're not allowed to be mispal because it's not betuch. And then we have a third level, but a person who's a chassid, a person who's a tzaddik, if his tefillah is muftach, that it works, so in Chanami you're allowed to ask. We have 3 different levels over here, and it's hard. We have to ask Yeshayla every time what we're dealing with. But here it comes up according to what we're making a sikkum. So something which is keneged ateva, against nature, to be mispalo, we're not supposed to ask. Something which is not against nature, but it happens to be on Shabbos, and we're getting together a minyan to be mispalo. Yeah, we're getting a minyan to be mispalo. No, on Shabbos we don't get a minyan to be mispalo. According to this month, we don't get betuch. You can call out for help. You can pick up the telephone. Pikuach nefesh, something pikuach nefesh. I need help. That you can do. To daven on something which is a what's his name? Call a minyan together. That you can't do. Somebody, again, from the Gemara over here is mashma, the Gemara in Kedushin, if you have a situation when you have a tzaddik, and his tefillas aren't always nana, in a situation when you have a tefillas, and tzaddik is tefillas and nana, so then, you're allowed to ask, even in the situations where it might be a nace, because the tefillah of a tzaddik works. Something that works, you do. Something that doesn't work, that maybe work on Shabbos you don't do, and something which is not kederech hateva, we should not in any way ask the Rebbeinu Shalom to do something, to make a tefillah to a kederech hateva. An interesting halacha. Go paskin to send a telegram to Chaim Kanievsky, probably wouldn't open it up on Shabbos anyway, so it's not going to help. Let's go a little bit more to Yudal Ramabez. Interesting halachas over here. Pieces of Gemara we don't even think about, but this piece of Gemara. The Gemara says as follows. I'm looking at the Gemara Yudal Ramabez by the large lines of the Gemara, 3-4 lines from the beginning of the large lines. Sholchalo b'nei Ninveh l'Rebbe. So b'nei Ninveh, that's in Iraq, sent to Rebbe, Kugon Anan, we. Dafila b'tkufas Taanis. Even in Tkufas Taanis, but even Mitra, we need rain. We're talking Iraq. Iraq is hot. They need rain. Eretz Yisrael, the rainy season ends when? The rainy season ends with Chodesh Nisan. And that's when we stop asking the same Talmud to Levrocha. We stop asking to finish. In Iraq, it's hot. We need rain all the time. It's a necessity. What do we do? What do we do? Where should we ask the bracha? Where should we ask the bracha? Ki yechidim, the minan, like yechidim, we should ask the bracha. And that would mean, we'll see in Rashi, that would mean we should ask it in Shomei Tefillah, the same Talmud of the bracha in Shomei Tefillah, or Kerabim the minan, or like Rabim. And the Gemara explains, Ki yechidim the minan b'Shomei Tefillah, and we should ask the same Talmud in Shomei Tefillah, or Karabim Deminan, or like Rabim, like in Eretz Yisrael, where we ask it where? In Birchas Hashanim. The same Talmud to the Bracha Pnei Asadi in Birchas Hashanim. Over Birchas Hashanim. Sholach Lahu, Ki Yechidim Damisa, you have a halacha like Yechidim. And if you have a hot spell, and you're in Iraq, and it's a desert wind, and you need rain, you should say Taka, the same Talmud, but not in Shomei, not in Birchas Hashanim, but say where? In Shomei Tefillah. Over Shomei Tefillah. Okay. That's the mission. Let's see Rashi. Over Shomei Tefillah, Amrinin l'sh'ilas moter. Ki yoched hashoyel tzerocha b'Shomei Tefillah. Like anybody else who has a problem, anybody who has problems, it's a catch-all bracha. Shomei Tefillah. So you can add anything you want, and that's the halacha. If during the rainy season in Eretz Yisrael, when you're supposed to say the same Talmud to the bracha, you forgot to say same Talmud to the bracha, you don't have to go back to the beginning of Shemona Esrei, but you say it in Shomei Tefillah. So now we're speaking about people in Iraq, and they have a problem. It's hot, and they need rain even in the summer season. The Shomei Tefillah, the Hodi Amin and Shayla Birchas Hashanim that we say always in Birchas Hashanim, Afilu Biyochid Mishum Dizman Tzibur. That's the Zman of the Tzibur in general. Avo b'milsa achrita, the havi l'yachid, but something which is yechidim, v'lo l'tzibur, k'hoche, the b'tkufas tamas lav zman shila tzibur, because tkufas tamas is not the zman when we ask for rain. Now, it's an interesting thing, I'm not quite sure. You'd have to ask what would be in countries where they have the seasons fakir than us, like in South Africa and Australia, their seasons are fakir. How do they work it as far as the brachas goes? Who b'Shomei Tefillah? We have to ask in Shomei Tefillah. The mitkale, v'lo b'Birchas Hashanim, kinavina b'Masechta Avodah Zarah b'brachas. Im hoyi lo chola b'toch beiso. If you have a chola b'toch beiso, masker lo b'Birchas Hashanim. You masker b'Birchas Hashanim. V'lo sof mokmina v'yelchasa b'Shomei Tefillah. And we pass it that you cannot change. You cannot say the same Talmud to Livrocha. We'll see in a minute. You cannot say the same Talmud to Livrocha in Iraq in July. Can't say it. You need the rain. Say it Shomei Tefillah. Okay. Now let's going to see an halacha. If you, please, gentlemen, if you take your time and open up to the Rosh has another halacha involved in it. We're looking at the Rosh over here. And this Rosh has a lot of different halachas because of this. Os Chof in the Rosh. Os Chof in the Rosh. We're looking at the Rosh. Os Chof. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen. Please open up to the Rosh over here. I hope you have a Rosh. Shochole b'nei Ninveh. Shochole b'nei Ninveh. Shochole b'nei Ninveh. The Rebbe could go Anan, the Tzrichim, the Motor, Afilu b'Tkufas Tamas, Ki Yechidim, over Shomei Tefillah, or Karabim, the Minan, over Birchas Hashem. Sholach lo Yechidim, the Damisul, you have a din of Yechidim, over Shomei Tefillah. V'chein Hilchasa. Okay. V'nira, the Kol Shekein Dech Yechidim Domil in Yananenu. Okay. We're talking about saying the same Tawamot Levroch. But what about if they don't have rain and they need rain? So we have a whole Masechta Taanis. That's the halacha. You have to daven for rain, and if you don't daven for rain, you have to make a tefillah. Taanis. That's the whole first pair. What about Taanis? Okay, and what do they say Anenu? Do they say Anenu in Shomei Tefillah, or do they say Anenu between Goyal and Rofe, like with a Shliach Tzibur? When the Shliach Tzibur davens the Tefillah Tzibur, does he make a special bracha on a Yom Taanis for rain, or he also only says it Anenu in Shomei Tefillah? They ain't koving bracha l'asam. They're not kovei bracha by themselves. They have a din of yechidim. Because of Rabbeinu Rabbi Sheshama me'oviv Rabbeinu Yoyo Halevi, Rabbeinu Elazar Reb Shimon, Shayetumuim, they wondered, Amash Somchu Harishenim Shemisanim B'Shul Gzeira. When you have a Gzeira, or Kedei Shalotavu Aleim Tzor, or they're davening that they shouldn't have a Chas v'Sholom, any Gzeiras Royas, Shemispalo Shliach Tzibur Anenu Ben Gol Rofe. Who gives them a right when they're making these Taanesim to make a bracha between Gol and Rofe? That's only when you have a Taanis Sibur, and all other Taanesim are Taanis Yechidim. So even though you have right now a problem in a city in Europe, and the Chas v'Sholom, you're worried about maybe a pogrom, and you're calling a Yom Taanis, which many times happen, you have to make Taka Yom Taanis, but you don't say Anenu, you don't make a special bracha ben Gol Rofe. V'chein lo makor in Parshas Vayechav. Oh, even more. And what did they used to do? They used to call Parshas Vayechav the B'toseftik Toni, the Ein Karen B'Torah B'Taanis Yochid. You know, Karen B'Torah, and you have a din of Yechidim. Kol Zaman is not a Taanis Sibur, and the Nasi in Eretz Yisrael was not Koveya, a Taanis for rain or for other dever, plague, whatever you have it, because Eretz Yisrael was the Koveya that created Taanis Sibur. So you have a din of a Taanis Yochid, and the din of a Taanis Yochid does not allow you to make a what's them. You can make a Taanis, yes, and you're mechuyev to make a Taanis, but you don't say a special bracha. The Shliach Tzibur doesn't say a special bracha. And let's even further. Interesting. The Taanis Sheni B'Chamishi. What about Bahab? Bahab. The Taanis Sheni B'Chamishi B'Sheni Shalachar HaPesach V'Yachar Achar Nogel B'Hem Kol Tfusas Yisrael V'Lo Havi K'Taanis Yochid. In fact, there, Chorah. So the Rosh says, but that Ibibal Nogel Kol Tfusas Yisrael. It's not a specific area which is affected. Kol Tfusas Yisrael is knowing Bahab. So that has a halacha like Taanis Sibur. Says, look, that's a Bechidish to Rosh. Because usually a Taanis Sibur is where? Only in Eretz Yisrael, or in a situation of what? Like Tisha B'Av, what's his name, other Taanesim, which Chazal were koveh because of the tzoros that happened to Klal Yisrael. But any other Taanesim have a din of Taanis Yochid, even though it affects a lot of people. What's the nafkamina? Where do we say Anenu? Number one, do we daven? Do we say Vayechav? Number two, all these things are nogir. Zok there. What? So the Rosh says, Bahab has aloha like Taanis Sibur. Why? Because Kol Klal Yisrael were Makar. The Raiba disagrees. Kosav, the Niralo, the Hanach Taniyos, the Mesanim, Be'ir V'Cheshon, those Taanesim that we fast, which is Bahab, Kivin, the Ika the Ovalo, the Ika the Lov. There are people who are Bahabniks, and there are people who are not Bahabniks. Not everyone fasts. Lov Chov, it's not a Chova. V'lav al milsa Yediyah Avdin, they're not doing it for a specific Yediyah that they have, a specific Tzorah. Even though they announce it in Shul beforehand, anyone, the Taanis, Ki Yechidim Dami. And the Ki Yechidim Dami means again, you can make a minyan, and you fast, and you have to say Anenu, but the Anenu is in Shemet Tefillah, even the Shliach Tzibur, and you don't create, there's no Kriyas HaTorah Vayechav. Not like a lot of people do. V'afilu Shliach Tzibur lo yomer Anenu el v'Shemet Tefillah. Uparshas Yechal Nami lo yiboy. You should read it. Uve'eretz Ashkenaz, so on that, the Rosh goes back. And the Rosh says, "Of the Eretz Ashkenaz Osem Keva V'Akomusan." Everyone does fast. So if everyone fasts, it has halacha. The Rosh feels that it has halacha of a tiny sibur, and because of that, we lay by Echal, and the Shliach Sibur says it in what's his name, in a special bracha. V'samchulu ma'isa diyu dechikifa bonav dechi hekifu bonav l'shivas hayomim hikrivu oilas mispor bonav ulai chotasa bircha shemus kaveya special karbonis. Maybe they did averus. I'm not quite sure what that to do with Taanis. Maybe because of the Simcha Mishta, that's one of the reasons we say we make Baha, because maybe during the Simcha Mishta of Yontif, maybe we did Averis, so there's an Indian of Chuvit. The nearly, Dr. Rosh, the Neidech Yechidim Domi Linyan Shaila, Lagabe, we just said the Gemara says, Anshe Ninver. Have a halacha of what? Have a halacha of yechidim. Lagabi the same Talmud Levracha. Same Talmud Levracha is only said what? Is only said in Shomer Tefillah. It's not said in Birchas Hashonim because Hainu Taimer to Befarish B'Yishami. She'ein Mishanos Mimadeh Bracha, because we have no right to Yud Ches Brachas that Chazal were Mesakim. We cannot change from the Nusach and the timing which Chazal set there. The Seder Yud Ches Brachas Tikin Nevi'im Ve'ein L'Shams. We're not allowed to change. So we have halacha like Yechidim. Avokol Mekabli Maleim Taanis. But a kol which is Mekabel Taanis, Vade Rabbi Mikra V'Cholim Mikvah Brachas. So the Rosh. So we have a machlekes over here. We have three shittas. First shita is that Taanesim, even though people are Mekabel Taanesim for a tzara, but this Taanesim is a localized tzara. In a town, in a shtetl, when people die and there's a plague and the Rabbonim say, let's have a Yom Taanis, that's called a localized tzara. And because it's a localized tzara, you're mechuyev to fast, and you're mechuyev to say Anenu, but the Shliach Tzibur says Anenu Shmei Tefillah, and you don't say Vayechal. That's according to what to say. Comes along, and that's the Shita Sarah. What's his name holds, the Rosh holds, but there are Taanesim that are not Niskenai de Chazal. They don't have a Takonis Chazal. But Bibal Kol Yisrael are Makabel them. So Kol Yisrael are Makabel, those Taanesim, they have a Vedin of a Taanis Tzibur. We lay in Vayechal, and the Shliach Tzibur does say a special bracha of Anenu between what's his name? Between Goel Yisrael and Rafa'inu. He makes a special bracha. That's what the Rosh says, and argues with the Rosh. But then the Rosh goes a step further. And the Rosh says, if we're relying on this Gemara, only relying on this Gemara to be Machalek, like the Gemara says, Anshe Ninve. So maybe there's a difference between a Taanis and a Shai. To change a Nusach HaTfilah, and Chazal were Koveya, the Nusach HaTfilah, for what? That we say the same Talmud Levracha only during the rainy season, which is Nikvai, the Eretz Yisrael and Babel. That you don't change. So even if you have to, you're living in a climate, you're living in Arizona, and you need you need the rain in the middle of July because it's boiling hot and verbase, everything is drying up, and the wheat that is drying out, and you need the rain, Afal Pikein, you don't say the same Talmud Levracha in Birchas Hashonim, you say it only where? Only in Shomer Tefillah. That's the Gabi Tefillah. Oh, but when there's a Taanis because of an Eis Tzor, there's a problem. And the problem is a localized problem. It's not a problem for God's clients, but it's a localized area. Whether it's a plague in one area or some machla in another area, because the Rabbanim in the area declared it so. It has a din of Taanis Sibur. That's the Rosh's Machadish. And you're allowed to make a Taanis Sibur for Dachi Tshuva, and you're allowed to do a Taanis. And because it's a Taanis Sibur, the what's his name, the halacha is you should say l'chayra Vayechal, you should blame Vayechal, and you should say also the special bracha of a Taanis Sibur. But the poskim say in the Rosh, if that's the case, so when you have, people are Misana, Erev Rosh Hashanah, some people are washing the Taanis, but between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, many people take a Makabel Taanis, it's an Eis Tzor. So they say in that situation, So why don't you say, we don't find any place in God that can make a special Kriyas HaTorah. We don't say, Vaychal, Yinam Motzi Sefer Torah. And we don't find it. So what's his name? We don't find that the Shliach Tzibur says a special tefillah between Shomer Tefillah, between Refo'enu and Gvar Yisrael. So some people say, Bishum Darkei Tshuva, one doesn't do it. But if there is a tzara, pressing tzara, and there's a plague, people getting sick, there's a, what's that thing going on now? Coronavirus. So, in that type of a situation, it's a plague, it's a pressing tzara. That's not just a midarkei tshuva, that's the Rebbeinu Shalom sending us, telling us, fast, do tshuva. In that situation, avad, you declare a Taanis, it's called a Taanis Sibur, even though it's a localized Taanis Sibur. After we can't, you lay vaycha, and you say, what's his name? And you say, Aneinu. The Sibur says a special bracha of Aneinu. We should have these tzoros, and we should only have simchas and nachas, and be together only in those situations. Zayus.